The fastest way to lose a woman's respect isn't by being broke, average looking, or quiet, it's by chasing her. Nothing kills attraction faster than a man who makes her the center of his universe, dropping everything just to keep her attention. The irony? The more you run after her, the faster she runs away. This video is about something most men don't want to hear. Women actually respect you more when you don't chase them. And it's not because women are cruel or manipulative, it's because chasing tells her, without words, that you've put her on a pedestal above yourself. The moment she feels like you need her more than she needs you, she loses that deep instinctive pull toward you. Respect evaporates. Welcome back, gentlemen. On this channel, I don't sugarcoat what modern dating really looks like. My job is to help you understand the hidden dynamics that play out between men and women, the ones no one teaches you growing up. And today, we're cracking open one of the most controversial truths. Indifference creates attraction. Chasing destroys it. When you're not chasing, you communicate something powerful: self-respect. You show that your time, your energy, and your goals matter more than trying to win someone over. And here's the twist. Women find that magnetic. They lean in when you lean back. They crave the attention you don't freely hand out. So if you've ever wondered why the guy who seems less interested always gets more respect, more commitment, and more power in relationships, you're about to find out. Stay locked in, because by the end of this, you'll see exactly why walking away from the chase changes everything. 1. Chasing kills. Respect. Every man has felt it at some point. You meet a woman, she sparks your interest, and suddenly you find yourself checking your phone every 5 minutes, typing out messages, planning the next date, and going out of your way to keep her attention. At first, it feels like the right thing to do. After all, isn't that how you show interest? Isn't effort supposed to impress her? But here's the catch. What feels like effort to you often feels like desperation to her. And nothing drains a woman's respect for a man faster than desperation. The chase is intoxicating for a man because he thinks if he just tries harder, he'll eventually win her over. Yet women aren't wired to respect men who give everything away so quickly. When you constantly pursue, when you're always available, when you make her your top priority without her earning it, you send a silent message. You're above me. You matter more than I do. That's not attractive. That's surrender. And women do not respect men who surrender themselves in this way. Respect, at its core, comes from balance. A woman wants to feel that she's gained the attention of a man who values himself. If she senses you're willing to do anything for her, even when she hasn't shown you the same energy, she subconsciously puts you in a weaker category. She may enjoy the attention, she may even keep you around for validation, but she won't respect you. And once respect is gone, attraction follows right behind it. Think about the men women talk about with admiration. They're rarely the ones who chased endlessly. They're the ones who were centered in their own lives. The ones who didn't fold the second a woman pulled back. These men held their ground. They were generous with their presence, but not desperate for hers. And because they didn't chase, women leaned in. It's the paradox of attraction. The less you pursue, the more she values the attention you do give. When you chase, you strip away mystery. You make her the prize, while placing yourself in the position of the pursuer who has to win approval. This imbalance makes her feel like she's interviewing you for a role in her life, rather than the other way around. That's why chasing is not just ineffective, it's destructive. It flips the dynamic upside down and guarantees that her respect for you will fade. The truth is simple. Women respect men who show restraint, men who don't need validation, men who can walk away if they're not being met halfway. Chasing may feel like action, but it's actually weakness disguised as effort. The moment you stop running after her and start valuing your own time, energy, and direction, the dynamic shifts. Respect flows back to you because you've proven you're not a man who gives himself away cheaply. And in relationships, respect is the currency that keeps attraction alive. 2. Scarcity creates desire. Human nature is simple. People want what feels rare, and they undervalue what's always available. This principle doesn't just apply to money, luxury items, or status symbols. It applies directly to attraction. Women are no different. When your attention is scarce, it becomes valuable. When your attention is unlimited, it becomes cheap. Think about it like this. Imagine walking into a store and seeing a diamond sitting on a shelf for $10. You'd be suspicious. Why? Because diamonds are supposed to be rare. Their very scarcity gives them value. The same is true for your time, energy, and presence as a man. When you hand it out without limits, when you're constantly texting, always calling, and forever available, your attention loses the aura of value. She subconsciously thinks, if he gives me all this for nothing, maybe it isn't worth much in the first place. Scarcity isn't about pretending to be busy or playing childish games. It's about genuinely living a life that doesn't revolve around her. When you fill your days with purpose, passions, and goals, your time naturally becomes harder to access. And when she does get access to you, it feels like she's won something. That contrast between absence and presence creates excitement, a spark that keeps her invested. Men who fail to understand this often smother women with constant attention, thinking it will secure affection. In reality, it has the opposite effect. She feels crowded, overwhelmed, and worst of all, bored. Desire fades when there's no room for her to miss you. But when you give her space, when you hold back just enough, she starts to wonder where you are, what you're doing, and why she doesn't have all of your attention. That curiosity breeds attraction. Every powerful man throughout history has embodied this principle. They were never the ones clinging desperately to approval. They had missions bigger than one person, and because of that, women competed for their time. Their scarcity made them desirable. It's the same for you. When you operate from abundance in your own life, you naturally become scarce in hers. Not because you're playing games, but because you're building something that demands your focus. The beauty of scarcity is that it forces her to value you correctly. It makes her weigh her behavior, it makes her work for your attention, and it restores balance in the dynamic. Instead of you chasing her, she starts leaning toward you, hungry for the moments you choose to give her. In the end, scarcity isn't about manipulation, it's about respect. Respect for yourself, respect for your time, and respect for what you're building as a man. And when you respect yourself enough not to be constantly available, women can't help but feel that pull toward you. Because what's rare is always desired, and what's abundant is always taken for granted. 3. Women test pullbacks. If you've ever dealt with a woman who suddenly grew distant, took longer to reply, or acted less affectionate than before, you've witnessed a pullback. To most men, this feels like rejection. Panic sets in, and the instinct is to chase harder, send more messages, plan a surprise date, or demand answers. But what most men don't realize is that many of these pullbacks aren't rejections at all. They're tests. A woman tests a man's emotional stability through distance. She wants to know what happens when she doesn't feed him constant attention. Does he lose control? Does he spiral into insecurity? Or does he stay grounded, focused, and unfazed? The way you respond in these moments tells her everything about your strength as a man. Think of it like quality control. If she's going to respect you long term, she needs to know you can handle pressure without cracking. A pullback is her way of checking whether your confidence depends on her mood. If it does, she knows she can control you. And once she knows she can control you, respect vanishes. But if she pulls away and you remain calm, occupied with your own goals, she sees you as unshakable. And that deepens her respect. Here's the part many men miss. Women don't consciously plan most of these tests. It's instinctual. Just like a child testing boundaries with a parent, women naturally test boundaries with men. They are wired to look for strength, for consistency, for proof that you're not all talk. And nothing proves that faster than how you act when she withdraws. The key is not to overreact. If she goes quiet for a day, don't flood her phone. If she seems less affectionate, don't beg for reassurance. Instead, keep living your life. Keep pursuing your work, your training, your purpose. When she sees that her pullback didn't throw you off course, she realizes you're not dependent on her for validation. That's when respect builds, not crumbles. The irony is that most men fail this test precisely because they care too much about passing it. They get anxious, they overthink, and they try to fix things immediately. But true strength isn't about fixing, it's about holding steady. By not reacting emotionally to her pullbacks, you communicate the most powerful message a man can send: I'm good with or without you. Women respect men who can handle their emotional storms without being dragged into chaos. A pullback isn't the end. It's the moment she decides whether you're truly strong or just pretending. Play it right, and she'll come back with more respect than before. 4. Respect versus desperation. Imagine a man named Daniel. He's in a relationship with a woman he truly cares about. At the beginning, everything feels balanced. She's texting him just as much as he's texting her. They both plan dates, and the energy is mutual. But as time passes, Daniel starts falling into a trap many men do without even realizing it. He begins making her the center of his world. When she cancels plans, he brushes it off immediately just to reschedule. When she takes hours to reply, he answers back in seconds. When she pulls away, he leans in harder. Slowly, without noticing, Daniel shifts from being the confident man she admired to the desperate man who's always chasing her approval. What Daniel doesn't realize is that this desperation erodes respect. At first, his girlfriend might appreciate the attention, but as it becomes constant, it loses value. Instead of seeing him as a man with his own life and standards, she starts viewing him as someone who will tolerate anything just to keep her around. That imbalance kills attraction. Now imagine another man. Let's call him Marcus. Marcus is also in a relationship, but his approach is different. He loves his girlfriend, but he doesn't let that love turn into obsession. When she cancels a plan, he doesn't sulk. He simply uses the time to hit the gym or work on his projects. If she takes her time replying, he doesn't blow up her phone. He respects her space because he's genuinely busy building his life. And when she pulls back emotionally, he doesn't chase. He remains calm, showing that his confidence doesn't depend on her constant validation. The result? His girlfriend respects him. She knows he's with her because he chooses to be, not because he needs her to survive emotionally. That difference, choice versus need, is what separates respect from desperation. Women can sense the energy you bring into a relationship. Desperation feels heavy, clingy, and suffocating. Respect feels light, grounded, and magnetic. A man who respects himself naturally earns a woman's respect, while a man who chases approval communicates that he doesn't value himself enough without her recognition. The lesson here is clear. Being devoted is not the same as being desperate. Devotion is built on strength. You give because you want to, not because you're afraid of losing her. Desperation, on the other hand, comes from fear. You overgive because you're terrified she might walk away. And ironically, it's that fear-driven behavior that pushes her away faster. Men need to understand that in relationships, respect is the glue that holds attraction together. Lose her respect, and it doesn't matter how much you love her, the relationship will wither. Keep her respect, and even through ups and downs, the attraction remains alive. 5. Power of silence. One of the most overlooked skills a man can learn in relationships is the ability to say nothing. Silence is not weakness, it's strategy. But here's the problem. Most men misuse their words, and when silence would have worked in their favor, they end up talking themselves into disrespect. Let's start with the wrongs. When a woman pulls back, argues, or shows attitude, many men rush to fix it with words. They over-explain, beg for clarity, or try to talk her into seeing things their way. Phrases like, "Why are you acting like this?" or "Please just tell me what's wrong," only make the situation worse. It places you in a childlike position where you're asking her for approval or chasing her emotional state. Instead of calming things down, you fuel her frustration. Another common mistake is flooding her phone with texts when she's gone quiet. A simple delay in her reply turns into 5 unanswered messages from you, which screams insecurity. Now, let's talk about the right way. The power of silence is about restraint. When she withdraws, don't chase. When she tests you with attitude, don't argue back. Instead, give her space, and let your actions show control. For example, if she pulls back, your silence communicates calmness. It tells her, I'm not rattled. I'm focused on my life, and you'll get my attention when the time is right. That kind of energy draws her back because it proves you're not dependent on her reactions. Silence also works in conversations. If she disrespects you or tries to provoke you, the worst thing you can do is engage in a shouting match. The best thing you can do is pause, stay composed, and let her words hang in the air. That pause is powerful. It forces her to reflect, and it communicates that you won't waste energy defending yourself unnecessarily. Another right move is to use silence as a reset. Instead of blowing up her phone, let hours or even a full day pass before responding. When you do reply, keep it calm and direct. That silence in between your words creates anticipation, making her value your presence more. It also shifts the dynamic. She's no longer in control of the tempo, you are. The reason silence works is simple. It shows emotional strength. Words are cheap when thrown around carelessly, but silence backed by self-control is rare. It signals that you don't need constant reassurance, and that confidence earns respect. The power of silence isn't about playing games or ignoring her endlessly. It's about knowing when your words add value and when they destroy it. Speak when it's necessary, stay silent when it's powerful. Do this, and you'll find her respect for you growing every time you refuse to overreact. 6. High-value men choose. There's a mindset shift every man needs if he wants respect from women. Stop waiting to be chosen and start being the one who chooses. Too many men approach dating like it's a job interview, sitting across from a woman and hoping she'll pick them. That attitude alone tells her you see her as the prize and yourself as the applicant. High-value men flip that script. They don't wait for women to decide. They choose who gets access to them. A high-value man knows his worth isn't measured by how much attention a woman gives him. It's measured by the life he's built, the direction he's moving in, and the standards he sets. This doesn't mean arrogance. It means discernment. He isn't desperate for company because he already lives a full life. So when a woman comes into the picture, he evaluates her just as much as she evaluates him. Think about the difference in energy. A man who waits to be chosen tries to impress. He overcompensates with constant compliments, extravagant gestures, and endless availability. A man who chooses doesn't have to do all that. He observes her actions, her consistency, and her values. He asks himself, does she bring peace? Does she add to my life, or does she drain it? That quiet confidence changes everything. Women can feel when you're the one holding the pen, deciding if the relationship continues. Here's the part most men overlook. Women respect men who don't hand out commitment freely. They may play with men who chase them, but they invest in men who make them earn it. The moment she realizes you're selective, that not every woman gets access to your time or energy, she respects you on a deeper level. Why? Because your standards make her feel that being with you actually means something. Engaging with women from a place of choice doesn't mean being cold or dismissive. It means leading with clarity. If her behavior crosses a line, you don't argue endlessly. You decide whether it fits your standards. If she brings drama, you don't chase after her to patch things up. You make the call whether to continue or walk away. That decisiveness is magnetic because it shows strength. High-value men aren't controlled by fear of loss. They understand that women are drawn to men who can live without them but choose to be with them. That choice is powerful. It turns every interaction into something she values more, because she knows you're not there out of desperation. You're there because you see her as worthy of your time. At the end of the day, women don't want a man who clings to them for identity. They want a man who stands tall on his own and invites them into his world. And that's the difference. Boys hope to be picked, men choose. 7. Make her invest. If you want lasting respect in a relationship, you can't be the only one doing all the giving. Too many men make the mistake of pouring everything into a woman, time, money, energy, emotions, without ever expecting her to give back. And at first, it might feel like the gentlemanly thing to do, but over time, it creates an imbalance that kills attraction. The truth is simple. People value what they invest in. If she isn't contributing to the relationship, she won't respect it, or you. Think about it. When you buy something expensive with your own money, you take care of it differently than if it was handed to you for free. You protect it, you value it, you respect it. Relationships work the same way. If a woman invests in you emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even physically, she values you more because she's put her own effort on the line. This doesn't mean you manipulate or force her to give. It means you set a standard where she feels the need to contribute. Maybe it's as simple as her planning a date instead of always leaving it up to you. Maybe it's her checking in on you first or going out of her way to support your goals. Those little actions matter because they prove she's not just along for the ride, she's invested in where the relationship is going. The mistake many men make is thinking they have to carry everything. They pay for every outing, they plan every experience, they initiate every conversation. That might win short-term approval, but long-term, it breeds entitlement. She doesn't respect you for giving endlessly, she expects it. But when you create space for her to invest, she steps into the relationship differently. She feels ownership, and that ownership makes her value it more. Here's the engaging part. Women actually like to invest when they respect a man. They enjoy cooking for him, surprising him, buying little gifts, or encouraging him when he's focused on his work. It makes them feel like they're part of something real, not just receiving benefits. But if you never allow her to give, you rob her of that experience, and she starts taking you for granted. The key is balance. You lead, but you don't overextend. You provide, but you also allow her to show her effort. You show interest, but you also wait to see if she matches it. That back and forth is what creates real respect and deeper attraction. At the end of the day, a relationship is like a fire. If only one person keeps adding wood, the fire burns out. But if both contribute, it stays alive. A woman will respect you far more when she's not just consuming the flame, but helping keep it burning. That's the power of making her invest. Gentlemen, here's the bottom line. Respect isn't something you beg for, it's something you command by the way you carry yourself. Stop chasing, stop overgiving, and stop making women the center of your world. Attraction grows when you value yourself first, when you're selective, when you use silence wisely, and when you let her invest in you. The men who thrive in relationships aren't the ones desperate for approval. They're the ones who choose carefully and stand firm in their standards. Build your life, protect your energy, and remember, respect always follows strength.